My friends, let me ask you something right from the heart. Have you ever felt your legs giving out on you? Like you're walking down the street, but suddenly they feel heavy, unsteady, or weak? Maybe it happens when you're climbing the stairs or just getting up from your favorite chair. Many seniors over 55 come to me with the same worry. Doctor, I used to walk miles without a problem, but now my legs feel like they don't want to carry me anymore. What's happening? Now, most people assume this is just part of getting older. But here's the truth, and it may surprise you. Sometimes the problem isn't your age, your joints, or even your muscles. Sometimes the problem is sitting right there in your fruit bowl. That's right, innocent-looking fruits, the very foods you've been told are healthy your whole life, could actually be stealing away your leg strength. And that's why today's video is so important. We're going to talk about seniors over 55. Stop eating these 7 worst fruits. They destroy leg strength. Senior health tips. I remember one of my longtime patients, Mr. Harold, a 68-year-old retired school principal. He came into my clinic one day looking defeated. He said, "Dr. Easton, I don't understand it. I eat fruit every morning, just like I've done for years. I thought I was doing something good for my health, but now I can't even make it through my morning walk without my legs trembling." That struck me because Harold was always a strong, proud man. He loved leading his grandkids around the park. Yet here he was, holding onto his cane, unsure if his own body could keep up. Friends, before I go deeper, let me introduce myself for those who are new here. My name is Dr. Nolan Easton. I've been practicing men's health and senior wellness for over 30 years, helping people just like you regain their vitality, restore their strength, and live the kind of life they thought they'd lost. And I can tell you with certainty, sometimes the smallest changes in diet make the biggest difference in how your body feels. Now, why would fruit, a food we've been told is nature's candy, packed with vitamins, ever harm your legs? Well, not all fruits are created equal. Some are overloaded with sugar that spikes your blood sugar, drains your energy, and weakens your muscles over time. Others are acidic, which can inflame your joints and cause swelling in your legs. And then there are certain fruits that leach away essential minerals your muscles depend on, minerals like potassium and magnesium that keep your legs stable and strong. When Harold and I sat down to review his eating habits, I discovered something interesting. Every morning, he was piling his plate with the very fruits that secretly sap strength. He thought he was fueling his body, but in reality, he was sabotaging it. Once we identified the culprits and swapped them out for healthier alternatives, the difference was nothing short of amazing. Within weeks, Harold was walking farther than before. Within months, he was back to strolling the park with his grandkids without needing that cane. And the smile on his face said it all. So here's what I want you to know. By understanding which fruits to avoid and why, you can protect your legs, maintain your independence, and keep enjoying the simple joys of life. Imagine being able to walk to the market without stopping to rest, or climb the stairs without feeling like your legs are made of lead. That's the benefit of making this change. And before I continue, let me ask you for a small favor. If this message resonates with you, if you felt your legs getting slower down and you want to reclaim your strength, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap that little bell icon so you never miss my future advice. And here's something special. I want you to leave me a simple yes or no in the comments below. Yes, if you've noticed your legs getting weaker. No, if you haven't. I do read through your comments, and they guide me to bring you the help you truly need. Now, back to Harold's story. As we peeled back the layers, we realized his fruit choices were creating a chain reaction in his body. High-sugar fruits were raising his blood sugar, causing his energy to spike and crash, leaving his muscles tired. Acidic fruits were making his joints sore, which made him less likely to stay active. And certain fruits were flushing out minerals through his urine, which meant his muscles weren't getting the support they needed. No wonder his legs felt weak. And friends, Harold is not alone. I've seen this countless times in my practice. Seniors over 55 are some of the most health-conscious people I know. You want to take care of your body, and you're willing to make changes. But the challenge is, the health advice we grew up with often doesn't match the reality of aging. What worked for you at 30 doesn't necessarily work for you at 60 or 70. The body changes, the metabolism slows, and suddenly those healthy habits are no longer healthy. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine your muscles are like a light bulb. To stay strong, they need a steady current of electricity, minerals, energy, circulation. But when you eat the wrong fruits, it's like sending power surges and shorts through the circuit. The bulb flickers, the light weakens, and soon you're left in the dark. That's what happens when your muscles don't get the right fuel. But here's the beautiful part. It doesn't have to stay that way. Just like Harold, you can switch off the wrong power source and plug into the right one. The moment you stop eating these 7 worst fruits and start nourishing your body properly, you'll notice your steps feel lighter, your legs steadier, your energy more reliable. That's not wishful thinking, it's biology working in your favor. I want to remind you again, this isn't about demonizing all fruit. Fruit can still be an important part of a balanced diet, but after 55, you need to be selective, thoughtful, and smart about which ones truly serve your health. Because your goal isn't just to live longer, it's to live stronger. And as I looked at Harold across my desk, I remember seeing the relief in his eyes when I explained this. He said, "Dr. Easton, no one ever told me fruit could do harm. I thought I was protecting my health." And I told him the same thing I'll tell you right now. It's not your fault. You've been given one-size-fits-all advice for too long. But your body isn't one-size-fits-all, especially after 55. What you need is wisdom tailored to your season of life. And that's what this journey is about. Together, we're uncovering the hidden traps that steal strength and learning how to build resilience in our legs and bodies. Because once you understand what's weakening you, you hold the power to stop it. And when you stop it, you open the door to a more active, confident, joyful life.
When Harold came back for his follow-up visit, he was already smiling before he even sat down. He said, "Dr. Easton, I did what you told me. I cut out those fruits and I can't believe the difference. I don't feel that same heaviness in my legs. I actually walked with my granddaughter to the park yesterday and I didn't have to sit on the bench halfway through." That moment right there is why I do what I do, because it's never just about legs. It's about life. It's about being able to walk beside the people you love without worrying whether your body will keep up. Now, let's talk about why this change works so well. Many people think muscle weakness comes only from age or lack of exercise. But in reality, what you put on your plate every day plays a massive role in how strong or weak your legs feel. You see, muscles are like engines. They need the right fuel, the right spark, and the right maintenance. If you fill that engine with poor quality fuel, like overly sweet fruits, acidic fruits, or those that rob the body of minerals, you end up sputtering instead of cruising smoothly. One of the biggest offenders I often see is excess fruit sugar, also known as fructose. When we're young, the body can process this sugar more easily, but as we get older, our metabolism slows, our cells don't respond the same way, and instead of giving us energy, that sugar overwhelms the system. The result? Muscles feel weak, circulation slows, and the legs simply don't respond the way they should. It's like trying to run a car with watered-down gas. It just doesn't perform. But the problem doesn't stop with sugar. Some fruits are so acidic that they create inflammation in the joints and tissues. And inflammation, my friends, is the hidden enemy of strength. It's silent, it creeps up on you, and before you know it, your knees ache, your ankles swell, and even short walks feel exhausting. I often explain it like this. Imagine you're trying to run while carrying a sack of wet sand. That's what inflammation does. It weighs you down and makes every movement harder than it should be. And then there's another factor, mineral depletion. Your muscles rely heavily on electrolytes like potassium, magnesium, and calcium to contract and relax properly. Certain fruits actually encourage your body to lose these minerals through urine, leaving your muscles weaker and more prone to cramps. You might even recognize this yourself. Those sudden leg cramps in the middle of the night, or the feeling that your muscles are tight and stiff even when you haven't done much. Often, it's not just old age, it's nutrition imbalance. When Harold and I worked through his diet, we identified 3 categories of problem fruits. The first were the sugar-loaded ones, the ones that spiked his blood sugar and left him drained. The second were the acidic ones, stirring up inflammation in his knees and hips. And the third were the sneaky depleters, robbing him of the minerals his muscles desperately needed. He had been eating from all 3 categories every day without realizing it. No wonder he felt like his legs were giving out. Here's the empowering part. Once we cut those fruits and replaced them with senior-friendly alternatives, his body responded quickly. His blood sugar evened out, which gave him steady energy instead of crashes. His inflammation calmed down, so his joints stopped screaming every time he walked, and his muscles began holding on to the minerals that kept them strong. In a matter of weeks, he went from limping along to walking with confidence again. And I want that for you too. I want you to know that weakness isn't always a life sentence. With the right changes, you can take back strength one meal at a time. Imagine waking up and stretching without pain, standing tall without wobbling, and taking walks without fear of your legs giving out. That's what these small dietary corrections can give you, the freedom to live fully. Before I go further, let me take a moment to ask you something personal. If you've ever noticed your legs cramping, swelling, or just feeling weaker than you think they should, let me know in the comments below. Just type yes if you felt it, or no if you haven't. I really do look at these responses, and they help me guide what I share here, because I want this channel to speak directly to what you're going through. And while you're here, don't forget to click that thumbs up button if you find this message valuable, and subscribe if you haven't already. That way, you'll always have access to the advice that can help you stay strong and independent. Now, let me share another story that really drives this home. A lovely woman named Margaret, 72 years old, came into my office not long ago. She was an active lady, loved gardening, loved keeping up with her church activities, but she told me her legs had started to betray her. "Dr. Easton, I can't kneel in the garden anymore. When I stand back up, my legs shake like jelly." She was frustrated because she wasn't just losing mobility, she was losing a piece of her joy. When I asked about her diet, Margaret proudly told me she ate fruit every day, the healthy way. She especially loved dried fruits and fruit juices. She thought she was doing something wonderful for her health, but in truth, those concentrated sugars and processed versions were making her problem worse. Dried fruits pack far more sugar than fresh ones, and juices often strip away the fiber that slows down sugar absorption. So what she thought was protecting her was silently undermining her leg strength. We made some adjustments, cutting out those problematic fruits and replacing them with low-sugar, mineral-rich options. Within a month, Margaret came back and told me she was back in her garden, kneeling among her roses, standing back up without wobbling, and that sparkle in her eye returned because she wasn't just stronger, she was living her life again. This is what I want you to remember. Food is powerful. It can heal or harm. And for seniors, every choice matters a little more because the body isn't as forgiving as it once was. But that's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Because once you learn the truth, you gain control. So when I warn you to stop eating these 7 worst fruits, it's not about taking away pleasure. It's about giving you back freedom. The freedom to move, to walk, to play with your grandkids, to work in your garden, or to take that evening stroll with your spouse without fear of falling behind. Your legs are your independence, and they deserve your protection. I know change isn't always easy. We get attached to the foods we love. But I promise you, once you feel the difference in your body, you'll never want to go back. Just like Harold and Margaret, you'll see that your strength is worth so much more than a sweet bite of fruit that secretly drags you down.
When I think back to Harold and Margaret, what strikes me most is not just their physical improvement, but the light that came back into their lives. Harold wasn't just walking better. He was laughing more, playing tag with his grandkids, and even talking about planning a family trip again. Margaret wasn't just standing up easier. She was back in her garden, surrounded by her roses, proudly telling me she felt 10 years younger. These aren't small victories. They're life-changing shifts that remind us that strength isn't only about muscles. It's about freedom, dignity, and joy. And here's the truth I want you to carry with you. When you eat foods that weaken your legs, you're not just risking muscle weakness, you're risking independence. For many seniors, that's the line in the sand. Because the day you can't trust your legs, the world starts to feel smaller. You hesitate to go for walks. You avoid outings with family. And sometimes even simple things, like stepping into the shower, begin to feel risky. But here's the empowering part. When you choose foods that support your legs instead of harm them, you build the foundation for independence, even into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. So let's talk a little more about why these 7 worst fruits are so sneaky. You see, the body changes after 55. Your pancreas doesn't process sugar as efficiently. Your stomach lining may become more sensitive to acids. And your kidneys, which play a big role in mineral balance, aren't always as quick to conserve the nutrients your muscles need. That means the very fruits you could eat without trouble at 25 or 30 now have a completely different effect. What was once healthy becomes harmful, not because fruit is bad in itself, but because your body's needs have changed. I remember another patient of mine, Roger, a 61-year-old man who came to see me because he was having trouble with balance. He said, "Dr. Easton, I'm afraid of falling. My legs don't feel stable anymore." Now, Roger was a proud man, a former firefighter who spent his career running into danger to help others. For him to admit that his own legs were failing him, that was tough. When we talked through his habits, I found out he was eating large bowls of fruit salad every morning. Grapes, pineapples, melons. He thought it was the perfect healthy breakfast. But in reality, he was flooding his body with sugar and acid first thing in the day, sending his blood sugar on a roller coaster and inflaming his joints before he even got moving. We made adjustments. He cut out the problem fruits, replaced them with protein and low-sugar fruits, and within weeks he told me, "Doc, I feel grounded again. I can walk across my living room without holding the wall." That's the power of knowing the truth. When you stop giving your body what drags it down and instead give it what builds it up, the turnaround can feel miraculous. And that's what I want for you. I want you to feel grounded, to trust your legs, to know you can stand tall without fear. Because every step you take is a declaration of independence. Now, if this message is speaking to you, let me pause for a moment and ask something simple. Give this video a like if you believe your health is worth protecting. Subscribe if you want more guidance on how to stay strong, vibrant, and independent after 55. And most importantly, drop me a yes or no in the comments. Yes, if you've noticed fruits or sweet foods making your legs feel heavier or weaker. No, if you haven't. I truly read those comments and they help me craft advice that serves you directly. Now, here's something many people don't realize. Fruits can also interfere with circulation. Some of the very sweet ones can increase triglycerides in your blood, making it thicker and harder to flow. And when circulation slows, your legs suffer first. That's why some seniors notice swelling around their ankles or a heavy feeling in their calves. It's not just about muscles, it's about blood flow. Healthy legs need healthy circulation, and circulation depends heavily on what you eat every day. Another sneaky issue is inflammation in the nerves. Some fruits with high sugar and acid content can irritate the nerves that travel down your spine into your legs. That irritation can cause tingling, numbness, or weakness. Maybe you felt it yourself. Pins and needles in your feet after a meal, or your legs going weak after snacking on something sweet. Often people don't connect the dots, but food can absolutely trigger these sensations. Roger told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "I always thought weakness was just a sign that I was getting old. But after I changed my diet, I realized it wasn't age, it was what I was eating. My legs didn't give up on me. I was giving up on them without realizing it." And I think that's such a powerful reminder for all of us. Age doesn't mean defeat. Age means adapting. It means learning new ways to care for a body that has carried us for decades. And when we adapt wisely, the results can feel like turning the clock back. Think about what your life could look like if you reclaimed your leg strength. Maybe you'd join your friends for that trip you've been hesitant about. Maybe you'd walk around the block each evening with your spouse, hand in hand, enjoying the sunset. Maybe you'd kneel down to play with your great-grandchild without worrying about how you'll stand back up. These moments matter. They're the memories that make life rich. And they start with something as simple as being mindful of the fruits you choose. And let me reassure you, it's not about giving up fruit entirely. It's about making smart choices that work with your body today. The 7 worst fruits are the ones that rob you of strength. But there are plenty of fruits that support you, that feed your muscles, stabilize your energy, and calm your inflammation. And when you choose them, you'll feel the difference. Every time Harold takes his walks now, every time Margaret kneels in her garden, every time Roger strides across his living room with steady legs, they're proving something vital. You can change. You can reclaim. You can be strong again. And it doesn't require a miracle pill, an expensive treatment, or hours in the gym. It requires wisdom and choice. The wisdom to know what's harming you, and the choice to stop giving your body what drags it down. That, my friends, is what this message is about. It's not about fear, it's about empowerment. Because once you know the truth about these fruits, you hold the power to protect your legs, your strength, and your independence.
Not long ago, Harold came into my office for a routine checkup. This time, though, he wasn't carrying his cane. He walked in tall, steady, with a grin that stretched ear to ear. He sat down and told me something that nearly brought tears to my eyes. "Dr. Easton," he said, "last weekend I took my grandson fishing. We walked along the riverbank, climbed over some rocks, and I never once worried about my legs giving out. For the first time in years, I felt like myself again." Moments like that are priceless, and Harold's story is proof of what happens when we stop feeding our bodies foods that drag us down. By cutting out those 7 worst fruits that weaken the legs, he reclaimed not just his strength, but his freedom, his joy, and his ability to make memories with the people he loves most. And I want that same outcome for you, because I know how easy it is to believe weakness is just part of aging. I know how easy it is to think, well, I'm past 60, so of course my legs don't work the way they used to. But the truth is, while aging does bring changes, much of the weakness and unsteadiness we feel comes from choices we can still control. The foods we eat can either support us or sabotage us. I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years, and I can tell you this: the seniors who age with grace, strength, and independence aren't the ones who give in to decline. They're the ones who pay attention. They're the ones who learn what their bodies need now, not what they needed decades ago. And they're the ones who make changes, even small ones, to protect their future. Think of Margaret, who went from trembling in her garden to standing among her roses without fear. Think of Roger, who went from clinging to walls in his living room to walking with balance and pride. These aren't exceptions. They're examples of what's possible when you honor your body with the right choices. And it doesn't have to feel overwhelming. You don't need to remember 100 rules or follow a complicated diet. You just need to understand which fruits are silently working against you and make the simple decision to let them go. Because when you do, you create space for strength, for energy, for circulation, and for confidence to flow back into your legs. Now, I'd like you to pause and imagine something. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You wake up in the morning, put your feet on the floor, and your legs feel steady. You stand without struggle. You walk to the kitchen, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and you feel light. Not weighed down, not unsteady, but free. Later in the day, maybe you decide to go for a walk in the park. The air is fresh, the path is smooth, and as you move, you realize you're not worried anymore. You're enjoying the moment. That's what these changes can give you. Not just stronger legs, but a stronger life. And here's something important. This isn't only about you. When you protect your legs, you protect your ability to show up for your loved ones. Whether that's playing with grandchildren, going shopping with a spouse, or traveling with friends, your strength is the gift you bring to those you love most. It's not selfish to want to be stronger. It's one of the most generous choices you can make because it allows you to keep sharing experiences, memories, and joy with the people who matter most. I want to thank each of you for spending this time with me, listening, and opening your mind to the possibility of change. It takes courage to challenge old habits, to admit that maybe something we thought was good for us isn't anymore. But courage is something I've seen in every patient who decided to take this journey. And I see it in you too. Before I close, let me ask you once more to take a simple step that can ripple outward and help so many others. If you found this message meaningful, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps this advice reach more seniors who need it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the guidance I'll be sharing in the future. And in the comments below, leave me a yes or no. Yes if you're ready to protect your leg strength by avoiding the fruits that harm it, and no if you're not sure yet. Your answers matter to me, and I do read them. They guide me to make these videos more helpful for you. When Harold told me about fishing with his grandson, I thought about the first time he came into my office. He was discouraged, leaning on his cane, afraid that his independence was slipping away. And then I thought about the man who sat across from me that day, confident, steady, alive with possibility. That transformation didn't come from magic. It came from knowledge and choice. And that's what I want you to take with you today. You have the power to change no matter your age. So let's circle back to where we began. Have you ever felt your legs weakening, your steps becoming unsure? It doesn't have to stay that way. By stopping those 7 worst fruits from sneaking into your diet, you can restore your strength, protect your independence, and enjoy the life you deserve. My friends, this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a stronger chapter. Take that first step today, because every step you take from here on out can be steadier, lighter, and filled with hope. This is Dr. Nolan Easton reminding you that your best years aren't behind you. They're still ahead, waiting for you to claim them. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and take care of those legs. They're the key to carrying you toward a future full of freedom and joy.